Okay, guys, today we're going to be working on this water pump. I'm going to show you how to repair a cat water pump. This is all the tools out. Jim's just working on stuff to take his transmission out. Okay, guys, what you're seeing here is me getting ready to get to this water pump. Now, the water pump is the thing kind of right under this bracket, and I'll show it to you here in a little bit. But what I have to do first is remove the Jim showed me a little trick so I don't have to remove the whole alternator and all that stuff, is to remove this bracket to get the water pump off. And all this stuff is basically 9/16 bolts. Everything on a cat is pretty much 9/16 bolts. So this is me taking off, I think there's 8 bolts in the front there, and then there's 4 on the back and 4 underneath where the alternator attaches to. So I had to get all that stuff off first, and then in between I had to help Jim work on getting this transmission out. But anyway, the tools that I used are just my cordless impact 3/8. It would take a lot of them off. Some of them it wouldn't. So I went and got the 0 offset box in 9/16 wrenches, which those are really kick-ass. I like them because they have long leverage and it's kind of straight. So you can see me using it right there because these were kind of tight. And then I had to get my little favorite little ratchet in to get the back bolt off, because the way that the bracket's bent, you're going to need a shallow type socket to get it off there. So this is me just working up to the point to get this bracket off. If you understand what I'm saying. And also I used the swivel impact sockets. I used my shallow set. Snap-on makes like a real ultra shallow one, which is pretty kick-ass. Those little swivel impact sockets, if you don't have any, they're well worth the money. And hopefully what this video does is I'm going to be talking about all the tools that I use for people out there, so they know kind of what to buy and everything like that. So I just thought this is the first little section, and then we'll move on to the next section in the next clip here. All right, guys, this is me taking more of the water pump off. What there is below here is an oil cooler, and this is me taking off the oil cooler section that runs into the water pump. It's kind of tricky. It's this L little looking bracket. It's kind of tight to get to. You gotta pop it off with a pry bar and all that stuff. And then I'm removing the back section where all like the heater hoses and the head hose comes into the top there, you can see. So this is me, and then this is me asking Jim how in the hell to get this goddamn thing out of there. This is the first time I've ever worked on a water pump like this. So you kind of got to take it out. The top part has to come out, and the bottom part has to come out kind of at the same time. It's kind of tricky, and it's hard to hold, So again, all this stuff is 9/16 bolts. Same stuff I used on the front cover, and you can see I'm putting all my bolts in this little metal pan that I got. I kind of like those things. Just keeps my stuff organized, and you guys know that I keep a lot of stuff organized. And also you can see that I'm wearing the official Snap-on Junkie hoodie. I can tell you right now that this hoodie does get you pussy. If you purchase one, chicks will flock to you. So you can go to my website, and I have those for sale. And guys, once they're gone, they're gone. We'll come up with another design later. So just wanted to touch on that. Now this is me getting ready to pull this stuff out of here. As you can see, there's that elbow thing, and then there's this big thing on the back side of the water pump, and that's the water pump pretty much exposed. The part that's not painted is kind of what will be changing. And there's some little trick stuff that I'll show you that I found when we finally get the water pump off. And then this is me just taking off the front. I think it's 6, or there might be 9 bolts there. I didn't count them. I just took them apart. So that's this little part. Okay, guys, this is me actually getting the water pump, finally getting ready for it to come out of it. Now, this thing is pretty tricky. This truck has a lot of miles on it, and Jim said he replaced the water pump one other time, but he doesn't remember when. But to me, it looks like it's been a long time just by how dirty it is. Now, this is a cast iron water pump, so this thing is fucking heavy. I mean, this is not no like car water pump. So, I had to, strike it with some pry bars and stuff. And if you guys don't have these snap-on pry bars or any type of striking pry bars, man, you're really missing out. You can do a lot of damage with those things. So this is me again, just checking. Like, I couldn't figure out, the press is pretty tight in there. So once I finally figured it out, like where it would move from, that's where I got this pry bar in there and get ready and pop this thing out. And then another fear I had is I didn't open the other water pump box, but I was hoping that I wasn't going to have to pull this water pump gear off and stuff like that. But luckily I didn't, I was kind of nervous about this. So again, this thing kind of had me like, oh shit. And then I finally figured out, I was prying on the wrong side. Yeah, even the Snap-on Junkie makes mistakes. But it is what it is. Sometimes when it's your first time, it takes a little bit. But I will tell you, the Catapillar book on this is 4 hours to change this water pump, and I did do it significantly less than that, just to let you know. So I felt pretty good about that. So boom, there we go. We got the water pump out. You can see the big gear and all that stuff on there, and that's pretty much getting it out. Okay, guys, this is me getting this water pump inner housing off. This is like some kind of spacer plate that I guess lets the water come out. And luckily, this one had these two little bolt holes that you could tighten up and pull this thing off. Because I looked at it, and I'm like, man, you would screw this thing up. Now, luckily, this one was made out of steel. There is some other ones that Jim told me are made out of aluminum, and he said they always crack. So that's how I got that part off, and I'll show you how I put it back together later. There's like an O-ring in there, a pretty thick O-ring and all that shit, and that's the old water pump housing, but you have to reuse that section. So that's how I took it. Okay, guys, so this is me getting ready to put this plate back on. Now, I got it all wire wheeled up and stuff like that, got the O-rings back in it, and I like to use a little bit of light oil to put these O-rings on there. And I'm not a big fan of like silicone or RTV or anything like that. Just because an O-ring is designed to seal itself. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. So I looked at all the surfaces. They looked okay to me. I didn't think I needed to do that. Now, pressing this thing in there, I tried to do it with my hand, and I thought, nope, that's not going to work. So what I did is I got me 2 bolts, and I just moved them from, across from each other. And then I just ran it down with an impact. Now, what you don't want to do is get fucking wazoo crazy with this goddamn thing and try to, cut the O-ring or anything like that. So I actually did it by hand, sorry. You can do this with an impact. You just want to have light touch. But I just used a little 1/4-inch ratchet here. It's actually a locking flex head ratchet and 9/16 socket, and then I just watched it as I pressed this O-ring down in there to get this plate on there. Now, to me, I thought that was the best way of doing it. I'm sure that there is some other people out there that probably are like, why in the fuck are you doing it like that? But I'm really not a type of guy that likes to guerrilla a lot of shit. I'm not a, get a big fucking hammer and beat on it. There's a time and a place for that kind of stuff, but not on this little part right here. So that's got the water pump back together, and I'm about ready to put it back on. I just wanted to show you this little... Okay, guys, this is me finally getting ready to put it back together. Now, I got it up in there. Now, I'm telling you, the first time I put it up in there and I tried to line up the bolts, and I didn't have it seated in there properly, and I dropped this thing out of there. So after I got it all picked back up and everything like that, I finally started to win, if you know what I'm saying. So I got this all ran in there. I had to move some couple bolts because I really forgot where these went. I didn't take good pictures of it. Again, that's my fault. But once I figured it out, I really started winning. Now this is this elbow that comes off the oil cooler right there. And I put new O-rings on it and everything like that. And then this is the back of the water pump section that goes back down to the lower radiator hose. But anyway, now this is really tricky. Like you'll see here in a minute, I had to have Jim come and help me do this because I couldn't hold all of it and do all that type of stuff. You know, because it's really tricky. Like you got to try to line up two things and then press that O-ring in there, which is pretty tight. If you get what I'm saying. So this is me just trying to get this shit in there. Here comes Jim to help me push it. He had to go get what I call mini Excalibur, or your starter stored there. That pry bar, we got it pushed in there, and that helped me. That helped me out a lot. So again, like I said, guys, go to snaponjunkie.com and purchase your sweatshirts and stickers. Like I'm telling you, it'll guarantee to get you pussy, because this sweatshirt is really nice. So this is, again, just me, just keep working on putting all this stuff back on there and remembering where the bolts went and all that stuff. And you'll see me be able to put the bracket on there. This took me about 25 minutes to do this whole section to get it put back on there. And I really didn't put none of the heater hoses back on or anything like that, because we are going to replace all those later down the road whenever we get them and stuff like that. But it's just, this is a pretty time-consuming little thing. I mean, 25 minutes is not bad for my first one. I'm sure some cat mechanic can probably do it faster, and I could probably do it faster too. This is just the first time that I ever tried it. And then again, guys, it's basically, being a mechanic is a lot of rinse and repeat. And what I mean by that is that you just take something apart, again, try to remember how it came apart, and then you're just putting it back together really the same way that you took it apart. If you get at what I'm saying. So then this is the little tricky part. This took me a little bit because I ended up having to take the hose or the alternator lines off to get this clamp lined up, and it kind of it fighted me a little bit. But I will tell you one trick is, see how I'm tightening up the back part of this bracket? You want to take out some of the slop, so what it does is it moves that bracket forward, because there's a spacer that goes up there in front. Like that the alternator sits on, and we're gonna have to adjust the belts anyway later, so I didn't think that was a big deal. And then it has 4 bolts that go in the bottom of the alternator bracket there that mount to the alternator, and then there's 2 on the back side of that. And so that's like the first part of the section. This is where I started fighting with it, and then I had to stop and take a little break to get it fixed up. But that's the first part. Okay, guys, this is me getting ready to finish this little bastard of a project up. This is me just putting the finishing bolts on the bottom of this alternator housing and stuff like that. And then what I have to do is hook up the little thing out of the oil cooler into the bottom of the water pump, and we'll get to that in a second. I just want to say, guys, that thank you for watching all my videos and my channel support that I get. I really appreciate that type of stuff more than you know what I'm saying, like gifts and all that type of stuff, because I'm getting pretty tired of seeing Jay Young just opening up gifts, and I've only got one. But there might be some more stuff coming. I really like the fan mail and stuff like that, but gifts aren't a bad idea, So yeah, this is me, like that little section back there. I really needed a deep socket, and I was just too lazy to go back into the tool room and get them. And this is also one of my favorite little ratchets. It's like the forget what they call it, but it's just a little short like swivel head little ratchet. And then this is me tightening up this whatever section down here, prying it back and getting it lined up. That little 90 that goes in the bottom. Now the gasket for that is only one-way direction. You can only put it on one way. It won't go the other way. The bolt holes won't line up, if you will. So again, it's 9/16 stuff, and I use that 0 offset wrench, which I love those little wrenches. But well, guys, this video is about over. I celebrate at the end. I would like to say thank you for watching my video today. Like, comment, subscribe, and go to the snaponjunkie.com and purchase your stickers and hoodies. Like I said, you can, look like a badass in the shop that you work at if you buy one. But this has been my video on how to repair a water pump. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Thank you.